Welcome back to Projectadya. Today, we crack open the skull, figuratively of course, and try to understand what's actually, running the show up there. I'm your host, Nova, and today we're diving into something that I think every single one of our listeners has experienced. That maddening, gut-wrenching moment when you're this close to a breakthrough, and then everything just freezes. Like life suddenly has bad Wi-Fi. With me today is someone who has spent over a decade studying exactly why that happens. Quinn is a cognitive scientist and a neuropsychologist. He studies how the subconscious mind quietly and, well, often sneakily, authors the biggest chapters of our lives. Welcome to the show, Quinn.
Thrilled to be here, Nova, and I love the Wi-Fi metaphor. I might steal that for my next paper, honestly.
Please cite me.
First citation in academic history to a podcast. We'd make history.
All right, let's get into it. So, Quinn, give us the big picture here first. What is actually going on in the brain when someone is on the edge of a major life win, and then suddenly it all stalls?
Right. So, most people assume that their conscious mind, that little voice making to-do lists and setting 5-year plans, is the one steering the ship. But the research keeps pointing to the same uncomfortable truth. The subconscious mind is a far more powerful driver than we give it credit for.
Okay, that's fascinating and a little unsettling. So when my big deal fell through last year on what felt like the most absurd technicality.
Your engine room might have had something to say about that, yes.
I was going to blame my lawyer, but go on.
You can still blame your lawyer. But also, consider the internal landscape at the time. Were you actually ready? Not just having the skills or the strategy, but emotionally. Did you have the resilient structure to absorb that level of success without it, completely destabilizing you?
And that's the uncomfortable question, isn't it?
It really is. There's a concept I work with called emotional architecture. It's the idea that every level of success requires a corresponding internal structure to hold it. When that structure isn't in place, the subconscious essentially runs a diagnostic, and it creates friction, missed opportunities, sudden obstacles, delays that feel cosmically ridiculous. It's not punishment. It's just a system protecting itself from overload.
I read something recently that used the metaphor of an arrow being pulled back before it's released. That the tension, the backward motion, is actually what generates the force to fly forward. Does that resonate with what you're describing?
Completely. In neuropsychological terms, what we call it waiting period, or what people experience as stagnation, it's a period of latent energy accumulation. The nervous system is recalibrating. The psyche is quite literally doing downloads. And here's what the research shows. People who learn to work within that tension, rather than fight it, they emerge with significantly higher adaptability and what we call psychological tensile strength. They don't just reach the goal, they sustain it.
So the delay isn't the problem. Our relationship with the delay is the problem.
Beautifully put. Most of us treat a pause like it's a red card. Game over. You failed. But it's actually the universe, or if you prefer, your own neural architecture, running a quiet background process, upgrading the software so the hardware doesn't overheat.
Okay, I love that. So practically speaking, when someone finds themselves in that waiting room, spinning out, feeling stuck, what should they actually do?
The most important shift is from reactive to reflective. Instead of banging on the door of the opportunity that just closed, you turn inward and ask a very specific question. If I got everything I wanted tomorrow, what part of me would break? Do I have the discipline to handle the freedom, the boundaries to handle the visibility, the inner peace to handle the pressure? That question isn't defeatist, it's a diagnostic. And whatever surfaces as your honest answer, that's your actual work right now.
Wow. That question alone is worth the entire episode. Sit with that one, folks.
So Quinn, last question. For anyone listening right now who genuinely feels like they are being pulled backward while everyone around them seems to be flying forward, what do you want them to hear?
I want them to understand that the physics of momentum don't lie. You cannot be pulled back and be forgotten. The tension is directional. It is aimed at something. Your only job right now is not to let go of the bow and not to let go of yourself. The release is coming, and when it does, you'll understand in your bones why the wait was never wasted.
I might need a moment. That really hit. Quinn, this has been genuinely one of my favorite conversations on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Nova. And for the record, I'm still citing you in that paper.
I'll frame it. And that's all for today's session, guys. If this conversation stayed with you, and I have a feeling it will, share it with someone who's sitting in that waiting room right now. They need to hear it. Until next time, stay curious, stay patient, and trust the process, even when the process feels like a glitch. See you next week, guys.